Now, Zomato is the leader in the food delivery market in India. In the month of October this year, CEO of Zomato, Deepinder Goyal, wrote in a blog post that they had reached 21 million orders per month in the country. Zomato expanded its services to international markets, starting from Dubai, and went on to Europe, Qatar, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Turkey, Indonesia, North America, among other regions. In fact, last year, Zomato became a profitable company in all the 24 countries it operates in. The company, backed by Chinese giant Alibaba, reported revenues of nearly $75 million last year. But the problem that food delivery apps like Zomato face is similar to what cab-hailing apps like Uber have faced. Whether appropriate systems are in place to ensure background checks of their executives. And now we have with us Rahul Singh, an entrepreneur, the man who set up the Beer Cafe, joining us live from India's capital, New Delhi. Rahul, thank you so much for taking time out. We're talking to you as somebody who has a very successful startup, the Beer Cafe, that has outlets all across the country, and it interacts with consumers. And, you know, a one bad tweet from a consumer about your service is very important to you, just like Zomato. But the question here is all these services that involve delivery executives or service executives, you know, it could be a Zomato or an Urban Clap or an Uber. The idea of background checks and the level of implementation leaves a lot to be desired.
True, it does.
And what do you think is the problem over here? It's not like these startups are not are short of funds. They have enough and more funds. They can easily get this right. That's so important to make sure that the trust that the customers have on them is not broken.
So it's nothing to do with whether you're a startup or you're a scaled up company. You could be an enterprise. Every enterprise today was a startup someday. So I think it's nothing to do with a startup or an enterprise. It doesn't really, it depends on, things can go wrong, and that can happen to anybody. It can happen, for example, with a big company like Uber, which we already spoken about. So when you grow rapidly, and sometimes in haste, you can get in trouble. And because you're learning at the same stage as while you're unraveling your entire system, because you're growing at a breakneck speed, and sometimes the systems can falter. You also learn as you grow, and that's what probably is happening right now in any space, whether it's a startup or whether it's a completely scaled up company, because trouble can happen. Any customer facing service industry can have trouble. It can happen in a hotel. It can happen in an airline. It can happen in a hospital. So this can happen to anybody, anytime.
But Rahul, we've seen food delivery apps, even other ones, come under similar kind of fire, in terms of delivery executives. And of course, there's no question about the amount of trouble that people in India have gone through because of the drivers of some of these cab-hailing services. I don't want to take individual names. They've all, given us enough cause for concern. Sure. So there seems to be a fundamental problem in this rush to scale up and become an international, global company. Some of the foundations of the business are left unattended.
Yes, so you rightly said. So it's not the funding which matters, it's the fundamental which matters, which is an extremely important point. So I think sometimes you need to get your fundamentals right. And I'll give you, from my point of view, it could be right or wrong. When it comes to service providers in a hospitality environment, now we're talking about food in this case. We all know that after water and air, food is important for living, right? It's an important ingredient. You cannot live without food. Everybody wants food. And that's without food, it's completely a non-tolerance, a product that without food you cannot live. Now, when it comes to food, you want to have food at the right time. Sometimes when we overstretch people, so for example, when you have drivers in cab-hailing companies where they're working for 12 hours, 14 hours non-stop, they will be in trouble. Look at airlines. When pilots have to fly, if they're flying more than certain hours, they have to be grounded. So sometimes in this haste, you're not putting fundamentals in place. So for example, in the service industry like a restaurant, all our restaurant companies, chains or none, provide free meals to all the people in the restaurant. So what happens with free meals is, if you're getting meals on time, that's the fundamental requirement. Meals are important. Once you have meals, you're having it on time, you're getting your downtime, you will serve well. You will not steal, you will not tamper, you will not get into the kitchen.
And Rahul, if I were to ask you quickly, one last question before we quickly let go of you, what is your solution or your suggestion to Zomato? What does it need to do to make sure it earns back the trust it has lost because of this incident?
one of the things, obviously they have not reacted, which is good. They've been very open and honest and said, yes, it's an outlier, it's happened. We're going to improve, we'll have tamper-proof. But I think one of the fundamental things here is, please do not put people on contract. When you put on contract, you basically are not, that human capital is being wasted. When you say it's contract means, I have a business with the rider, he's my rider, he's a third party, I'm not responsible for his healthcare, I'm not responsible for his food, his meals, his time. He could work 14 hours, I don't care. That shouldn't be there. If you put everybody as your team member, make him an employee. Give him healthcare, give him free meals, give him ESI, give him provident fund, make him live.
Right.
And that's what one should do. If you have 100,000 riders, why not 100,000 employees?
Right. Rahul Singh of the Beer Cafe, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on World is One.